The halls of Arkham Asylum were never truly silent. Even in the dead of night, the walls groaned as if the building itself were alive, shifting and breathing in the darkness. A flickering light buzzed overhead, casting erratic shadows across the cracked tiles. The air was thick with the scent of damp stone and something metallic, blood perhaps. Batman moved cautiously through the corridor, his cape trailing behind him like a phantom. He had been here before countless times, but tonight felt different. The mission was clear. Joker had escaped his cell and Arkham had gone dark. No alarms, no guards, just an eerie, pulsing silence that set his teeth on edge. He touched his cowl, activating his detective vision. The thermal scans flickered, glitching unnaturally before shutting off completely. Damn it. Something was interfering with his tech. That meant one thing: he was playing Joker's game now. As he approached the nurse's station, a single envelope sat atop the desk, its paper yellowed and curling at the edges. Scrawled in a messy looping hand were the words, "For the Bat." Batman hesitated, then picked it up. Inside was a folded piece of paper, smeared with what looked like grease paint. A riddle. "I dance in the dark and live in the mind. I twist and I turn, I leave you blind. You chase and you fight, but I always remain your greatest foe, yet I share your name." Batman clenched his jaw. Joker was toying with him. A sharp noise echoed through the corridor, a door creaking open in the distance. He turned sharply but saw only shifting shadows. His fingers curled around the paper as realization set in. The answer to the riddle. Madness. A slow, mocking clap rang out. Batman spun, but the corridor was empty. "Very good, Batsy," Joker's voice purred from somewhere unseen. "But can you keep up? Or will you lose yourself before the night is through?" Then the lights went out. Darkness swallowed Arkham whole. Batman's night vision activated automatically, casting the asylum in shades of green. The world flickered, distorted, shapes stretched and twisted at the edges of his vision. A laugh echoed down the hall, high-pitched and gleeful. Batman moved forward, slow and deliberate. He passed empty cells, some smeared with handprints of something dark, others containing only the remnants of former inmates, discarded straitjackets, overturned furniture and drawings scrawled onto walls. Then he saw it. A second note pinned to a wall with a scalpel. The paper fluttered as if breathing. "Step right up, step right in, your world is real except when it's thin. The closer you get, the further you fall. You seek the clown, but do you exist at all?" A wave of dizziness crashed over him. The walls pulsed, the floor shifted beneath his feet. He reached out, steadying himself against the cold stone. Something was wrong. His heart pounded erratically, his limbs felt heavier. Was it gas? A neurotoxin? The Joker had done this before, but this felt different. He pressed forward, jaw clenched against the growing vertigo. The corridor led him to an open area, the maximum security wing. This was where the worst of Arkham's inhabitants were kept. A single light flickered above. Beneath it stood a man. Joker. Or was it? The figure wore a long white coat, buttoned neatly, with a stethoscope draped around his neck. His green hair was slicked back, but his usual grin was subdued, almost. "Kill. Bruce." "The Joker, no," the doctor said, voice calm, almost sorrowful. "You're having another episode." The room spun. Batman took a step back, gripping the side of his head. "No," he growled. "You're not real. This is one of your tricks." The doctor sighed. "You always say that. Every time." The walls of Arkham melted. The grimy, blood-streaked tiles faded into pristine white. The bars on the cells vanished, replaced with thick glass. The air was no longer thick with decay but sterile, clinical. Batman staggered. The weight of his cowl was gone. His gauntlets missing. He looked down. He wasn't wearing the batsuit. He was clad in a white jumpsuit, the sleeves loose around his wrists. The padded floor beneath him seemed to stretch endlessly, swallowing his sense of space. "No," he whispered. Dr. Napier, Joker, knelt beside him, eyes filled with something Batman had never seen in them before. "Pity. You've been here for years, Bruce," Napier said softly. "You always think you're the Batman, that Arkham is some battlefield. But it's not. It's your home." The world tilted violently. Images flashed before Batman's eyes, memories or hallucinations. Gotham's skyline crumbling into mist. Alfred's voice, distant and fading. The bat signal flickering like a dying star. And then his reflection in a mirror. Not Batman. Just a man, broken, hollow, staring back with wild, unseeing eyes. Dr. Napier placed a hand on his shoulder. "You don't have to fight anymore," he said. The words rang in Batman's skull, an echo that refused to die. Then from somewhere deep in the asylum, a familiar voice whispered, "He's lying to you." The lights flickered. Dr. Napier's face twitched. For a split second, his features melted into something twisted, monstrous. A grin split his face wider than it should be. His eyes gleamed. The illusion cracked. Batman lunged. Darkness swallowed him whole. When he woke, he was strapped to a bed. The leather bindings dug into his wrists. Dr. Napier stood over him, face unreadable. "You almost had me that time," the doctor murmured, adjusting his glasses. "But we'll try again tomorrow." He turned, walking toward the door. Batman struggled, muscles burning, but the restraints held tight. Just before Napier left, he glanced back, a flicker of something wicked in his gaze. Then he whispered, "Or maybe, you really are just crazy." The door shut with a final, echoing click. And in the silence, Batman started to laugh. The walls of Arkham were suffocating. White, padded, silent. Batman Bruce sat in the center of his cell, staring at his trembling hands. They were pale, thin, not covered in gauntlets or armor. The illusion had cracked, but his mind refused to accept what was real. Dr. Napier's voice still echoed in his skull. "You've been here for years, Bruce. You always think you're the Batman. But that wasn't true. It couldn't be. Could it?" He clenched his fists, nails digging into his palms. The walls pulsed around him, bending inwards like the asylum itself was breathing. Then from somewhere beyond the padded door he heard it. A whisper. "He's lying to you." The same voice from before, distant and familiar. Batman shot to his feet. He wasn't alone in this place, not entirely. There was someone else who saw the truth. His fingers traced the cold metal of the door. Locked. No surprise. He needed to think to regain control. Napier, Joker, wanted him to believe he was insane. That this world was real. But something didn't add up. His memories. They weren't fading like a dream slipping away. They were sharp, vivid. He could still feel Gotham, smell the damp of the Batcave, hear Alfred's voice. He wasn't crazy. He was trapped. That night, when the lights dimmed and the silence thickened, Batman heard the whisper again. "Wake up." His eyes snapped open. He wasn't sure if he had even fallen asleep. The room was darker than before, the faint glow from the hallway flickering erratically. Then he saw it. A single playing card slipped under the door. Batman knelt, picking it up. A Joker card. But scrawled across the surface in a sharp, messy hand were 3 words. "Check the mirror." His pulse quickened. There were no mirrors in Arkham cells, it's too dangerous. But his mind twisted. Wasn't there a mirror before? In Napier's office, Batman pressed his ear against the door. No footsteps. No guards. Now or never. Using the edge of the playing card, he worked at the lock, his fingers steady despite the haze in his mind. It clicked open far too easily. Almost like someone wanted him to escape. Batman crept through the silent halls, moving like a shadow. Everything felt too clean, too controlled. The Arkham he knew was chaos, screams in the night, flickering lights, the scent of rot. But this place? It felt like a prison designed for one person. Him. Dr. Napier's office was at the end of the hall, the door slightly ajar. A dim lamp cast long shadows across the floor. Batman slipped inside, and there was a mirror. He hesitated. A deep, clawing part of him feared what he would see. He stepped forward. The reflection stared back. A man. Hollow eyes. A face lined with exhaustion. Bruce Wayne. Not Batman. No cowl. No scars. Just a man in a white jumpsuit. His breath caught. Bo. Then the reflection moved. But Batman hadn't. His heart slammed against his ribs as his mirrored self leaned forward. A slow, unnatural movement. Then it smiled. Not his smile. A wide, stretched grin. The reflection lifted a single gloved hand. A black, armored gauntlet. "Who's really behind the glass?" the reflection whispered. Then the lights shattered. Darkness swallowed the room. Batman stumbled back, his head spinning. The glass rippled like water disturbed by a stone. Then he wasn't alone. A A shadow loomed behind him in the mirror. Twisted, laughing. Joker. Not Napier. Not the calm, calculated doctor. The real Joker. Dressed in his purple suit, eyes alight with madness. Batman turned, but the room was empty. He turned back to the mirror. Joker was still there. You're running out of time, Bats, the reflection purred. Are you ready to see the joke? The mirror shattered. Glass exploded outward and Batman was yanked forward. He hit the ground hard, but it wasn't the cold tiles of Napier's office. It was stone. Arkham was gone. No pristine halls. No padded cells. Just an endless, decayed asylum, dark and rotting. The real Arkham. Laughter echoed through the ruins. And then he saw him. Joker sat atop a broken throne of rubble, grinning like the devil himself. Welcome back, Batsy, he sang. Took you long enough. Batman pushed himself up. His suit, his real suit, was back. The weight of his cape, the armor, everything. What did you do? Batman growled. Joker clapped his hands. Me? Oh, Bats, you did this. He leaned forward, eyes gleaming. You locked yourself away. Built a cozy little lie. But guess what? He spread his arms wide. The joke's on you. Memories slammed into Batman's mind like a freight train. The asylum had never been real. Napier had never been real. It was all an illusion. A cage for his mind. And Joker had been the only thing waiting for him on the other side. You're not Bruce Wayne, Joker whispered, stepping closer. You never were. The room tilted. The walls twisted. Batman staggered. His own thoughts betrayed him. Because deep down he knew the truth. Joker leaned in, his breath cold against Batman's ear. You're me. Darkness swallowed everything. And Batman, or was he, screamed.
That's it for tonight's tale. But don't worry, there's always more where that came from. Be sure to stay tuned for even more nerve-thrilling horror stories every single week. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join us here at the Hollow Horror. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Until then, stay safe. Or stay scared. See you next time.